when we go through periods like this, I think often people think, maybe the safest thing for me to do is just get out. It is just step back and wait till the dust settles. The problem with that is, by the time the dust settles, you'll have missed the recovery. And this is how people make mistakes. Look, I think back March 9th of this year was one of those big down days, a 2,000 point down day in the Dow. It was one of the biggest down days that we had. And I remember that day, and I got so many calls and questions about should I just get out? And I thought back to 11 years prior to the exact day, March 9th of 2009. That was the day the market bottomed after that 50% decline during the great financial crisis. And you know what happened that day? Nothing. Nothing happened that day. There wasn't even an economic data release that came out that day. There was no fanfare. There was no official announcement that everything was over. And I think if you polled people that day or week or month and said, hey, do you think the worst is over? They would say, absolutely not. Definitely the worst is still yet to come. Yet there you were. That was March 9th. By June 1st, stocks had rebounded 41% off of that lows, and they never looked back, never retested those lows. We know, kept moving higher. And that's the thing. I think getting out requires two decisions, right? It's the decision to get out, then the decision to get back in again. And that's the hardest one. And that's why we always advocate diversified asset allocations. They can help manage volatility during these very difficult, stressful periods of time where we don't know what's going to happen next. And I think in contrast to the viewpoint that if you don't know what's going to happen next, you should get out, I think the opposite. You'd have to have an enormous amount of confidence you knew what was going to happen next to abandon your financial plan and abandon your asset allocation and take matters into your own hands and just get out. So I think that's often in the back of people's minds, whether they ask it or not. Should I get out? Should I not? It's never the right answer. And just because that second decision is so hard of getting back in, and so few people do it. And I can tell you, and I'll just sum up with this, across Schwab, we've got every trade made at Schwab going back to 1976. We have all this data to show that individual investors, when they don't have the benefit of professional advice like they do from you, Jim, and Nathan, and the other folks at Alternative, they tend to make these decisions. They jump out at the wrong time and they don't get back in. So, I really think I think it's wonderful that you all on this call have chosen very smart investment advisors and you've stuck to your plans. That makes all the difference in reaching your financial goals. Sorry, this was a long comment, but it's something I think it's often in the back of people's minds, even if they don't ask it directly. And I think it's one with a very obvious and high conviction answer.